Self-Made Auto channel. I've got a new vehicle to work on today. I've got a note here, an envelope with some keys, and it says Chevy Colorado Shop X from John Doe sent me to you, and you can call them. They will explain. I need a sticker! Exclamation point. 12 volts going to EVAP at all times. Electrical issues, question mark, thanks. So there's our symptoms. This vehicle was sent to us evidently from another shop, a shop that I know, a shop that sends me work quite often. And they told the lady come here, and it sounds like there is some sort of issue with the EVAP system having 12 volts at all times. No idea. Let's bring it in and see what is wrong with this thing. Big 2.8. Alright, I didn't even notice the engine light was on when I brought it in, but let's go have a look. We'll grab our scan module here just in case it is. Everything's all rusty. Let's see what we got. Alright, light is on. Yeah, I'd say it needs inspection. Or January 2017 stickers now, so this baby ran out quite a while ago. I got 06. Alright, let's see what kind of problems we got. Let's see. Sorry the furnace is loud. I didn't notice that in my videos. Here at work, I mean the furnace, you can't even hardly hear the thing, but man, in the videos it sounds like we got a jet engine running in the background. I'm not gonna freeze my buns off on any kind of a YouTube video, so we'll let this baby get hooked up, see what we have for codes. Let's take it from there. I don't know what they're talking about, unless it has 12 volts constant on the control wire, which would be an indicator of a good solenoid. You know, 12 volts going in through the coil and back out. I don't know, just speculating at this point. Okay, 06 Colorado, 2-wheel peeler, 4-banger. It's automatic. Codes. All codes. Crank to cam correlation. EVAP vent control circuit low. Well, that's not good. Let's see, last test. Cam, crank to exhaust cam correlation bank 1. That's usually those, oh, they got them variable valve timing actuators on the head there. Get all plugged up metal shavings. Let's see, mill service requested. So it has 2 codes in it. For some reason they were only worried, or she only made a note about the EVAP, so I would say let's have a look at that first. I doubt these two are related, but just for the heck of it, we can pop right back in here. We can see if we can hear the vent solenoid going clicky. Let's see. Vent solenoid. I see it changing statuses here. You know, I don't hear it clicking, so let's go have a look-see underneath this beast. This is not a very unfamiliar sight. So right up above the rear axle here, there's your vent solenoid. You can see the red connector on it. Got your EVAP canister that hangs up in there. Kind of a better idea. That's where the spare tire used to be. Okay. Kind of visualize where you're at here. And then the EVAP canister just kind of hangs tight right up there. Well, when Ivan visited here just recently, he actually repaired one of these on a Chevy Colorado, I think like an 06 or so, same exact one. These actually come out pretty easy. You just got one bolt right there at the back. You take that bolt out, excuse me, the whole canister will come right out of there, and then we can get to what we need. But being that we've got this low circuit code, we're just going to unplug it right there at that red connector, and we're going to see if we have power, and then see if we got a control wire, and if we don't, we're going to figure out why. There is our connector. We'll just do visual inspection here real quick, make sure it's just not right full of the green pus. It looks good. So now, got our favorite little guy here that we like to use. However, in this situation, I am going to elect to use, we're going to cover your ears, the Power Probe 1. Now I better explain myself because I never use this because I'm a test light guy. On this vehicle, we suspect that we're missing the power source. You know, just according to the lady's comment, and you know, judging by the code. So I don't want to be hunting down under this rust bucket for you know, good ground, and you know, is it a good ground or not. And I also want to check the control side of this, in which case I would need a power source for my test light. So this is just easier. You know, felt like I had to explain myself. So keys on right now. We should have full-time power on one of these, which it appears we have. Okay. If this is just a bad vent solenoid, this is going to be ridiculous. Right now I've got my test light hooked to ground. I don't know what you guys see over there. I got it hooked to ground on my power probe, so let's see if this can carry current, which it can. So there's that. Pretty easy. We got our scope right here, so we're going to go. This is probably just a bad vent solenoid. Why would a shop send me a vehicle that just has simply a bad vent solenoid? We'll turn it on. We'll go back up to our canister vent. Hope you guys can see it. We'll just go with our power probe. Because this one wire should be, that one's got power, that one's got ground. Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. Well, I don't understand. So I'm going to front probe this. No, I'm not spreading the terminals, so settle down. We're going to take and stick our test light right across there. It's commanded on currently, and it lights up. You've got to be kidding me. How come every time I think we're going to have something sweet, we got something ridiculous? This needs a vent solenoid, big deal. So we're going to take and just pull this back real quick. This doesn't even make sense. The shop that sent it to me is not you know, I mean, it's not a dummy shop. They don't usually send me stuff unless it's an absolute basket case. I just can't believe, I just hope that this isn't some kind of intermittent problem. But let's get this out where we can look at it. You know, the EVAP systems aren't something new. I know the guy that was working on it. I mean, he's been working on cars forever, unless he's just been having a bad day. You never know. Sometimes we all get slid. Just plug this thing back in. So technically, we just back probe this again. Get up in here with the back probe. That one should be our full-time power. You guys see what's going on here? Let me see. Hope so. I'm gonna hook my ground back up to my power probe here, which is essentially this vehicle ground. This should have power on it. Make sure my test light's good. Test light's good. Well, the pink wire had power, right? Was it? Let's see. Yeah, the pink one had power. Okay. Actually, we got a good back probe. Okay, we're getting good enough. So the pink one has power. I'll show you. It's got an open circuit coil here. Put my back probe up in there. So we got power there. Technically, if the coil's good, we should have power coming out the other side. Well, I'm gonna make sure the solenoid's turned off. Okay, solenoid's turned off. Technically, we should have power passing right straight through the coil, which we don't. See here, light doesn't light up. Well, that's the silliest thing I've ever seen. All right, I probably ought to call this fella at the shop and get the details. I hate to be missing something here because this seems ridiculous. Hey, sir. What's the deal with the Colorado here? Yep. Yep. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I believe that's a normal situation there. I think they're a 12 volts constant feed. So yeah, it appears they have just a bad vent solenoid here. Yeah, yep. It's got it's receiving a command signal, and it's got its full-time power back there. So yeah, it appears to be a vent solenoid. I see it's got another code in it for cam crank correlator, exhaust cam position, something or other there. I have to take a look and see, but okay. Yeah, I would imagine that one probably would, yeah. So, okay, all right. Well, I just wanted to kind of touch base with you there. Yeah, oh well. Oh yeah, certainly. So, all right. Yeah, I'll take the easy ones. So, okay, well, I'll check out this exhaust cam shaft business here and see what we got. I'll call lady. All right, thanks. Yeah, bye. Well, I don't know how he got slid on that. The guy at shop said he checked it out, came in, had a code in it, he toggled it on and off, didn't hear any clicking, and went back there with the meter, seen it had 12 volts all the time and it didn't change. So he shipped it. I think he probably got slid by his meter, I'm thinking. I don't know if we stick like a DVOM across those two pins, if it'll always have 12 volts. I don't know what he did. We should probably take a look. So I just grab my meter here. What I suspect, this is where he gets slid with a voltmeter. If we go back there with the EVAP solenoid commanded off, just normal circuit, and we go across those two pins, we're gonna see 12 volts because the PCM is actually looking at the at the ground side, at the control side of this, it's looking for that 12 volts to come back through the solenoid. That's how it can tell if it's got a complete circuit or not. So, you know, the PCM sees this as, you know, as a low circuit, you know, no voltage, coming back down the, you know, control side. I'm not real good at explaining this stuff, but what I can do is I can prove it to you. If we go over there with a meter and we hook it up to the vent solenoid with it being commanded off, we're gonna see battery voltage, or darn near battery voltage. So let's do that. Let me show you how he got burned on this and why he assumed there was an electrical problem. So I guess a simple fix like this, we can turn it into a little bit of a lesson and show you why meters can be, well, you kind of gotta know what you're looking at in order to do this. And that's why this little guy right here excels in a problem like this. Okay, so I got everything set up here. I got our meter. Let's turn on the battery voltage. Right now the vent solenoid is not commanded on, so technically we should not have 12 volts going across this, but when you measure this, we got 11.87, so we've got battery voltage going across this. And this is where you can get burned with a meter, because this is just measuring the differential from side to side. And being that the PCM has, you know, is looking for voltage coming up this wire, up the control side, you're gonna see battery voltage across there. However, if we try to carry a small amount of current, AKA test light, 1/4 of an amp across this, we'll front probe it, we'll come through here, and look, it won't light up the light. And if I can do this with my meter, and hold all the leads all at the same time here, so we'll try to, I don't know what you guys can see, hopefully you can see this. I got my meter and my test light all hooked there. I hooked my, oops, I don't have a hook to, gotta have my other side of my test light here. Okay, got my test light. Then we got my meter on one side. And I come across this ground, should have 12 volts. So we got 12 volts. Now if I take my ground clamp on my test light, hook it to that, we should have 0 volts. Because we're not going to be able to flow any current. And there you go, 0 volts. Take my test light off, battery voltage. So that's how you can get burned using a meter trying to test a circuit like this, and that sounds like that's what happened to this fella. So I guess not his fault, but maybe a valuable learning lesson for all of us. That's why I like to test light in situations like this. It's going to put just enough load on that circuit to you know, kind of prevent any issues like this. Hope you guys could see what was happening there. So that can be a really good learning lesson for all of us, you know, using a voltmeter, you know, on a circuit like that, or I guess without knowing the proper terminology, you know, a sensed circuit. Inside the PCM on this car, if you can envision it as having its own, you know, its own voltmeter, inside that PCM, it's looking for 12 volts coming up that control side wire. Okay, and that's how it can determine, you know, what code to throw. That's how it knows if that circuit's high or that circuit's low. You know, if it has the ability to control it, it's not really a bias voltage. It's, you know, just sensing. So my meter here is the impedance on this is 10 mega ohms. The impedance inside the voltmeter, inside the PCM, I guess for lack of a better term, is obviously lower than my voltmeter. And that's how we can see, or that's why it senses that as a ground. And I can show you that real quick to kind of, you know, show you the concept of what we're thinking. We'll go over here to the truck again. We'll get our meter set up here. Oops. This time we'll get her set up in ohms. Get this resting up here again, hopefully. Where the heck we had that? How do we have it? Should have left it there. Okay, so we can see our resistance value there. And what we're gonna do, right now the vent solenoid is commanded off. So, you know, technically it's, you know, like an open circuit. Our test leads are good. And what we'll do is we're gonna go from a good ground, known good ground, and we're gonna go to the vent solenoid control wire, and what we expect to see is a reading less than 10 mega ohms. What do we have? What's it say? 12 kilo ohms. So we've got 12,000 ohms on this circuit. That is why we see 12 volts going across, because according to my meter, because it's a 10 mega ohm resistance meter like most of them are, you are going to see what you would interpret as a ground. I hope that all makes sense. Ivan would be about 20,000 times better at explaining this than I am. But he's not here, so he can always go full nerd on these things and really explain that better, but I hope it makes a little bit of sense. I'd love to stay and, you know, get out the whiteboard, do some drawings, and you know, figure this out and do the best I can on it, but actually, I don't want to sound cliche with this, but I am a little bit pressed for time today, and kind of keep going on this. We'll check out this cam sensor business, whatever that cam solenoid thing is there, see what's wrong with that. Simply needs a vent solenoid, but you can see how this guy got burned because he got a new gadget. If you're doing this with a voltmeter, or you're doing anything with a voltmeter, you really have to think about the entire circuit. This is why both Ivan and I are huge fans of test lights and scopes, and it can kind of save the day on this. In this case, you know, the shop lost a job on this simply because of technology, we'll call it, or maybe perhaps not understanding it fully. The best way to do this with a voltmeter is to do it with the circuit plugged in and back probe it. Your feed side is going to have 12 volts all the time. So take your test meter, hook it to a good known ground, take your other lead on your test leader, on your test meter, and stick it in the power side of this. Vent solenoid on and off, it should have 12 volts all the time. Then you take your voltmeter hooked to a known good ground, you go into the control side. With the vent solenoid off, you should have 12 volts. With the vent solenoid on, you should have 0 volts, because it's going to take that 12 volts and pull it to ground. That's the only way you can do this with a multimeter and actually have, you know, good results and results that are believable. So keep that in mind. You got to check the circuit loaded, and obviously this PCM has a lower impedance than our voltmeter, so that's why this fella got burned on what would essentially be a simple diagnosis. So the next code on our list that we're dealing with sounds like it's going to be a little bit more interesting, but we got this P0017. Does it give us a description? Okay, so the powertrain control module uses the crankshaft position sensor and the exhaust cam position sensor in order to monitor the correlation between the crank and the cam sensor. PCM detects that the cam sensor pulses occur during the incorrect crankshaft position. The P0017 will set. So I guess we can kind of end it all right there. We have to take a cam crank correlate. We have to look at this on a scope, see what it looks like. But the problem is, I don't have a known good cam crank correlation to look at, and that is the pisser.